Hey everyone, Jeremy, National Fire Radio, back on the podcast.
The fire service has given me everything in my life. Fire service is not built on shortcuts. One of the best things I ever heard. You want to teach the tricks of the trade, but nobody's learned the trade.
Yeah, but you're working for it.
What are you doing to make yourself better? You want to advance your career? Double down on it.
I challenge you to take this conversation, take it back to the firehouse and talk about it when we're talking about the job. We're making the job better. We're making the job better. I'm making the job better. Jeremy, National Fire Radio. Being creative, harnessing the power of creativity for me is like what I've trying to always stay focused on. Because I'll give you a rundown of my day. My brain has gone in 1,000 different directions since I met you this morning, right? And it's like, what can we do? What can we talk about? It's that creative side. But then I'm also thinking about all the other projects, the Legacy Fire Cards, the posters, the Legacy Project, the podcast, the social media content that's got to go out today, the editing that needs to be done, the other projects I'm working on. You have January 15th is Thursday. That is the anniversary of the Miracle on the Hudson, which is when the plane went down in the Hudson River. So I want to do a social media piece on that. So it's like my brain is constantly going on things that I want to do and information I want to share. And then it's like, how do you put together this collective creativity so that people can come along for the journey?
You know, it's so funny. I can watch you and see the gears turning as
no doubt.
It's like, I'll see it. I'm like, he's thinking right now.
Yeah.
He's thinking on something.
Yeah. And it's that for me is like what I think one of my gifts is. And we were talking earlier, right? And I hate this because we're going to keep referring to our conversation earlier this morning.
That's okay. Do it.
But the thing is that like we were talking about, I lost my train of thought. We were talking about.
We covered a lot of ground, so it's hard to.
We did cover a lot of ground this morning. Shit, I'm drawing a blank. That rarely ever happens. I think it's because I'm so flustered this morning because we've covered so much. Already.
We have. Yes, we have.
So Bo Butler. Welcome to the studio. We've already been recording. We've already been up and going. So this is how we do it. There's no formal interview intro, but thank you for making the trip down to the studio.
You're very welcome. Thank you for receiving me.
You got thrusted into the spotlight when you took a public stand at a city hall meeting.
Yes.
Representing your people, your fire department, and the community you serve as the fire chief. And you took a very public stand on not compromising the integrity of your department or the protection for the community. And that has had major repercussions, right?
Yes, it has.
And from overnight fire chief in Londonderry, New Hampshire, I don't want to say sleepy, but a quiet.
Yeah, 42 square miles, 27,000 folks, about 5,000 calls a year.
To making a stand for what you felt was right, sticking up for your community and your people, and in return, you stepped down from your position, and the whole nation took notice.
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
Yeah. Never and that, of course, was never my intention, to get that spotlight. And it's interesting how it found me, But it came at a cost. It's come at a cost.
That's interesting to me because so many people saw it and they were like, look at this guy. This guy's freaking stud, standing up for his people, this and that. And it was like, yeah, man, he's taking a stand. He's pushing back. He knows what the people need. He knows what the residents deserve. And in fact, the residents even voted for.
That's correct. And I'm glad you
the support of the department, right?
Yes.
And yet,
overwhelmingly.
And yet the town decided to still pull back. You need to be under budget. You need to do this. You need to make cuts. You need to kill overtime, right? All these things, correct. Right? And yet the public still voted in favor of the department. And you, as the department head, took a very controversial stand in a way. You fought back against the system, but you also took yourself out. You stepped down. You resigned. And from that, there was this incredible amount of national coverage. And everybody was like cheering for you. And yet nobody probably has understood what has happened or transpired with you since then, or what that decision that night how that changed your life. And the other side of it, too, was I also looked at it like, is this guy bailing on his people? It wasn't, for me, it was like, wow, this guy's taking a stand. We need people to take a stand. I need people to make a decision. And in the fire service, we need decision makers. You made a very big decision that night, and it could be reviewed in both ways.
Yes, it can.
Talk to me about that decision-making process.
Well, I guess, and you and I had this conversation, and we'll keep going back to breakfast. We're going to keep going back to breakfast.
Yeah, let's go.
But we talked about how, every decision has a consequence, no matter what. That consequence is going to be good. That consequence might be bad.
Right.
It could be a little bit of both.
Right.
It could. And when I was making this decision, you have to understand that for my entire time with the fire department, I was the private in the trench, on the two-man rig, showing up to a job with me and one other guy.
Wow.
And feeling what that's like, right? And as you grow and you mature and you hear the senior guys go, hey, we got a two-man engine company, and it's not even a company, it's a couplet, like it's not even recognized. And you watch as the calls are getting harder, more difficult, more challenging. We have a very aging populace in the town of Londonderry. Everything's getting harder, everything. And oftentimes in the fire service, the easy day, even if it's an easy day, it's still very difficult. But chief after chief after chief would recognize this, and they would try to make changes. But at the end of the day, the fire department was the whipping post. It was the whipping boy. And we would drop. We would cut services. We would continue to do more with less. And when I got promoted, and if it's done right in the fire service, right, the guy that is the fire chief grew up in the fire service so that he can relate and be empathetic and show sympathy for the newest private in the foxhole dealing with his challenges, to the company officer who just switched positions from like a best friend to now a manager, a boss, a leader, and that dynamic, and then being a shift commander and then moving off the line into a command role, right? You have to have that experience in order to maneuver from a position of chief of department. So I was very lucky in that aspect that I came up through the ranks of Londonderry Fire, the good and the bad of it. And you take it all in and you process it. And you say to yourself, if you're ever in a position with the formal authority, having 5 bugles, now you have true power to make decisions and changes, And I mean, it's stupid, but one of the first general orders that I did was giving the guy shorts. Allowing shorts. Can you go figure? Right. And it was like the best thing for these guys. A small decision that a fire chief can make because he remembers how hot it can be, wearing pants in the summertime in New Hampshire with bunker gear on, and just giving them that win. And that's the stuff that I was able to do in that position. But, of course, there's going to come harder decisions to make. And when you care about a department or an organization, in my case, care deeply about the men and women of the fire department, everything I have, Jeremy, is because of Local 3160, is because of the Londonderry Fire Department. It's because of the town of Londonderry. So you fall in love with your people. Perhaps that's a bad thing, maybe. For me, maybe it was. Maybe fall in love with my people was a bad thing because I loved them so much that when push came to shove, when I was in a position, just like every other chief before me, to make a decision, the love for those people and the love for my community, that I have blood in the soil in the town of Londonderry. The first time I left home was to go to war. It was the first time. Then I came back, so Londonderry means everything to me. So when you're the guy that now has to look at not just a firefighter, but the firefighters' families, because you have relationships with these people.
Sure.
And you have to be the one to say, we're just going to keep doing the same thing we've done since we've been here. Keep kicking the can down the road. But what I had in the back of my pocket, which was different this time, was a vote of confidence from the town of Londonderry.
Yeah.
A vote of confidence. Talk about mandates with the President Trump. I got a mandate through selling and through educating the community on why we needed to increase our staffing. Through that first budget process, the town council unanimously supported it, and then the budget committee unanimously supported that. That's a big deal. When you're able to sell elected officials through explaining the why behind why we need something, and they all say yes, and they have to spend money to get that yes, that's a big deal.
No doubt.
Especially in red Londonderry. That's a huge deal in the live free or die state. So now I have this mandate that the community wants 13 firefighters across the 4 fire battalions, not sometimes, not when it's convenient, but 365 days a year, 24/7. I take that very personally. I work for the people.
Well, and a tremendous amount of work went into educating
A ton of work.
the community so that they can support this initiative.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And so now here we are basically having a minimum staffing of 13, really is what it was. It was a very good flank, right?
Yeah.
We have, 13 per shift. That is the minimum. So when you take someone like me that grew up in this community, grew up in this fire department, is now the head of the fire department, New Hampshire's 9th largest fire department, and you have the will of the community saying they want this, we the people, right? We the people want this. We're willing to spend our money. You are obligated to provide that to them. I'm sorry, you are. And people can have different opinions. That's fine.
Yeah.
But Jeremy, what does a government exist for before it collects a single tax dollar? The life, safety, and the civil protection of its citizenry.
Sure.
That is the primary responsibility of a government. Before a tax dollar is collected, protect its people. We have to protect our people, and the people understood that. So they gave us the money to do that. But then when push came to shove, and now all of a sudden the budget's trending the wrong way, and I get it, right? I got a couple obligations. One is to the budget, one is to the people. But I will always choose the people over the budget. This is my downfall. This is my downfall. I will always choose my people over a political budget. It would be different if the community said otherwise, but the community mandated this thought process. So I was not going to continue to kick the can down the road, and I'm thinking in the future. I'm thinking the next fire chief, right? I'm thinking years down the road, including the fallout of how it would hurt my people and myself, whatever, but it hurt my people. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. America's like upside down right now. Nothing makes sense. I can make something make sense very clear. The will of the people is X. I love my people. I am not going to give the order to cut services. Not doing it. Why am I not doing it? Because I have all this support saying that's not what we want, town government.
Right.
We said we wanted this.
Right.
Now, hey, I don't know why that was very foreign to some people in town government, and of course they have their positions and they're doing the best job they can too. But why don't we just look at the mission statements from all town departments? And if we're short money, right, and we know we need a little bit more money just to get us through so we can fulfill the commitment to the community, we're in a pinch. Let's do something thoughtful. Let's look at the mission statements of the community. And if you can pull out what departments have a life safety and civil protection mission, they get priority. Because remember, we just talked about a government exists to protect its people.
Yes.
So in that interim period of time, why don't we just reallocate monies from, I'm not going to say non-essential, let's call it a department that doesn't have a life safety mission. That is easy for a taxpayer that just gave a mandate to understand fully. Oh, you're going to take some money on a temporary basis. You're going to reallocate funds, which you can do because it's a bottom line budget, and give it to the fire department so that they can fill this mandate that the community gave them, right? It's reasonable. Would you say that's reasonable? It makes sense.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It wasn't going to be done.
Yeah.
And the night of my resignation, I let my leadership know that I was going to resign. Now, I didn't want to, but I'm a professional. I very much wanted to go in there with the element of surprise. I'm a military guy, and I wanted to maneuver without prior awareness. But when I reflected on it, I'm like, that's not who I am, Bo. You're a professional. A professional will sit down with leadership and say, hey, I'm resigning. This is why. Here are some solutions maybe to prevent this from happening. Let's talk about it, And I did give solutions. I came with a problem. I brought the solutions with the problem. and they didn't agree on it, and that's fine. That's their prerogative.
Did it, for you, was it that you just weren't willing to compromise for your own position? Meaning, you know, fire chiefs have come and gone before you that have dealt probably with similar issues. And I know, not speaking specific to Londonderry, but other places where fire chiefs become a political pawn in a lot of ways in the machine, and maybe have lost direction sometimes about fighting for what's right and fighting for their people. And a lot of times operations are affected by those decisions.
Yes.
You got to wake up every morning and look in the mirror.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if you had to compromise your own position, compromise the will of the people, you have to deal with that.
Yes.
But on the flip side, you're now dealing with the potential of your people, your rank and file, your officers below you, looking at you thinking he gave up on us.
Yes.
And it's hard to convince people otherwise, right? When when they're so close to it.
Yes, it is.
But for somebody like me on the outside who had that thought at first, I was like, man, this guy's a martyr. This guy is fighting for what's right. He's taking a stand personally. I mean, your family's affected by it. Your livelihood's affected by it. Your relationships, your friendships, your professional, your resume, all these things are affected by that decision that you made. But it's because you wouldn't compromise your morals, ethics, and values. That's strong, man.
I will succeed on integrity or fail on integrity. So long as I'm standing on integrity, Jeremy. Now, that comes with a personal cost. You mentioned I can't collect my retirement for a couple of years. My family went almost 11 months without health care. Well, we had to pay for it out of pocket. There was a huge sacrifice here on my part. That's not what I am more concerned with. Like, that was my decision. I knew, right? No one forced a gun to my head. The part that, and we talked about this, and matter of fact, you're the first person I ever asked me it, because you're coming from a very detached position with experience, national reach, and you can understand this maybe in a way that others cannot, is that I walked away from the people that I love the most.
Yes.
And they have every right to be mad at me. They have every right to think of me as, you know, an asshole, a bastard, you know, a traitor, right? These are the thoughts that run through my mind.
Sure.
For the last 14 months, they've been going through hell because of me. Not in terms of their staffing, because for the first time in the history of LFD, we had man-for-man staffing, which happened through the resignation, which was ultimately one of the goals, not to sacrifice my honor and my integrity and my character, but also through that huge turbulence of me resigning to say, hey, the fire department needs what the town has given them. Let's give it to them. And that's happened now, you know. But in the process, from the time I left, they made an acting fire chief, which was my assistant chief at the time. 14 months have gone by without a fire chief at the Londonderry Fire Department. Without stability, without consistency, without leadership, a place starts to hurt.
Sure. And
those guys, through me stepping down, while I had my motives, have gone through hell for 14 months. And I take full responsibility. This bothers me. This fractures my soul. You know, and I know growing up, you know, you hear like, hey, man, we need staffing. Stop dropping down. Man-for-man coverage. And they get that through this, but still at the end of the day, they're going through hell now as a result of it, until the new fire chief, who has been hired from the outside, right? From the outside, which is another thing that you can go both ways on. But it took 14 months to give this department stability after me leaving. You know, I wasn't dealing with the fallout of that up close and as personal as they have.
That is very true. I mean, you dropped the bomb that night.
Yes.
And you could walk away.
Yes. And I walked away.
Yeah.
Now, I walked away with the pain that I'm taking with me.
Sure.
But I walked away from the guys that are still dealing with it day in and day out without me. You know, and what I've learned is that I think you can regret a decision and not regret a decision all at the same time.
Same conversation.
And Jeremy, live life no regrets. How is this possible? How can you live a life without regrets? That's a utopian mindset that just does not exist here on this world. For me, you were the first person. Do you regret it? Yes, I regret it deeply. I regret leaving the people that I love and their families and the leadership that I abandoned and pulled from them, and the forward course of correction that we were making, like good strides, progressive, new changes, new mindsets, a fly car, all this stuff. We were going in the right direction, but I could not sidestep this decision that I had to make for myself and for my people. It doesn't mean I don't regret it. I'd give anything to go back, of course. But I can't go back. At the end of the day, I'm the one that has to live with that decision. And I can't do that.
That is, you and I chatted about as little, side story with me. I was sharing with you about with maturity comes clarity. And as you get older, I've become a much different person than I once was. Yes. And when you couple all that together in your situation, you don't know how you're going to act or what you're going to do until you're faced with that exact moment. Yep. And I've come to recognize that, like, sometimes there is a little bit of a need to be selfish for yourself in a way that is healthy for yourself, meaning you have to do what's right for you sometimes. Compromising, and I've always said this, you can't let someone else write your story. It's your story to write. You can't compromise your morals, ethics, or values for others because you have to deal with the consequence of that the next day and every day going forward. Regret does exist. I struggle with that because I always say I have no regrets in life, but I know I do.
Yeah, of course.
Deep down inside,
yes.
I should have made a left instead of a right,
right,
or I should have done something and I didn't,
right,
or I rolled over on something and I shouldn't have.
Yeah, right. You
were in a very tough position, and I don't envy you for that. And I think I'm grateful that we're talking over a year later about this because you've had a lot of time to reflect on it. And I think that this conversation is probably very different than previous conversations you've had about this because you've had time to reflect.
Very much so.
And I'm glad that we waited to get together to do this because, I think it's a stronger message for you because you've had to deal with this.
Yeah, for sure.
The fallout is there now,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just wonder, there was so much support out of the gate for you from the outside community, right? And so you're probably hearing one thing from home and another thing from everybody else on the outside.
Yes.
And then there's you in the middle going, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Right? The dust is now kind of settled, right? For you looking back, that night before when you talked to your officers, or how about the night before that when you spoke to your wife and had to lay out everything in front of you to make that moral decision that I can't look in the mirror every day going forward if we don't get what the people want and need and deserve? I mean, that decision-making, bro, wild.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people would have rolled over and just been like, okay, town hall says I got to cut. I'm sorry, guys.
We see it every day.
I'm the fire chief. This is my position. It sucks, but here I am. And that is happening, like you just said, everywhere, every day.
And then, how can I have this mantra and this message that I had? Firefighters first, mission always. And when push came to shove, not put the firefighters first. The mission, Jeremy, whether I'm there or not, is going on. It's still happening. It never stopped. It never stopped. It will always continue. But I had one shot to put the firefighters first. And I had to do that. Now, globally, it is them getting the staffing that we've always needed.
Right.
Written in stone forever, right? Forever. And to the credit of the new town manager, he comes in, outside view, and he looks and he goes, I agree with the chief's interpretation of a warrant article. Whenever you have a citizenry walk into a ballot and vote, it's very much a binding thing. Otherwise, what? This isn't America, right?
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken. His position is just that. Now, I didn't hear that from him directly, but I heard that from my union body through the Union E board, having talks with him, being like, yes, a warrant article is a warrant article. We can't sell it. We can't vote on it and say, not today. We don't want to do it. No, it doesn't work that way. This is the will of the people, right? But leading up to me even getting promoted to fire chief, Amanda and I sat down, said, babe, look, you know who I am. I have integrity and honor and try to live a life of flawless character, knowing that I will always fail, right? But if you start from that mindset, you can do the right thing again and again and again, hopefully, right? That's the intent. But there's going to come a time, babe, in this process where I'm going to be at a crossroad to make a decision. I have to be able to, at the end of the day, to make the decision for myself, maintaining my integrity and my honor. Because, Jeremy, once it's gone, it's gone. Even if I said, you know what, I'm going to do what everyone else has done. We're going to drop down because that's what the town wants or town hall wants. Goodbye, integrity. You don't get that back. I can never, once that bell gets rung, that goes, and I can't get it back. And I wasn't willing to do it because I believe very much that, on the day of my judgment, and, this is so funny. I said everything honestly during that resignation.
Yeah.
Why? The why behind it.
Yeah.
Because on the day of my judgment, I have to be able to look at my maker and say, yeah, I maintain my honor and integrity in a very difficult position. Selfishly, right? It's a selfish thing to do. But at the other side of that is that the guys are getting the staffing that they need.
Did you struggle with making this decision?
Yeah,
Did you?
Of course.
Well, I knew right, hard line. This is, or, gee, I don't know what I'm going to do here. And then the self-reflection and.
I will share some insight with you.
Yeah.
When I resigned on October 9th, the council did not accept my resignation. If you watch, they never took a vote to accept the resignation. How can this be? How can Bo be? So they put it off, and I was still very much the fire chief. Even though I had resigned, they didn't accept it. Shortly thereafter, a couple of weeks went by, and the town manager also resigned based on his reasons. I'm at home at the farm, and one of the counselors comes to the farm, barges into the house. Bo, I need to talk to you. Okay? I get up, I meet him in the mudroom. He goes, in my hand right now is the town manager's resignation. He's holding up his phone. He doesn't have the paper. He's holding up his phone. He goes, come back. We need you. The lower self of me is saying, okay, I'm coming back. And my wife says, the fire department going to get the money that they need, even if he comes back, the money that me and, my hometown community voted for? He goes, no, you're going to have to eat crow, say you're sorry. She goes, you don't know my husband. I wanted to, of course, because I never wanted to leave that place. It's my home. I don't have that in my life anymore. There's a piece of my heart and my soul, Jeremy, that will forever be empty. I'll never get it back.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, I could get it back. It's right there. But I just got to say I'm sorry. I just got to eat a little bit of crow and say I was wrong and give a public apology to the town hall. And Amanda's like, you don't know my husband.
Fact that she answered for you is wild.
My best friend.
Yes. But she knows you better than you know yourself because you had a
100%.
moment of temptation.
Yes, sir.
A small chance of weakness could have.
Yes.
What you thought might have righted the ship. I got what we wanted, but in fact you didn't.
No.
It was then putting yourself before the mission.
Yes.
And we talked about that.
Yes.
When you insert yourself into the conversation, you'll typically get it wrong.
And
it's
that's
when
what
you
I
put
was
the
going to do.
mission first in the conversation, you'll probably make the right decision every time.
Right. Exactly, Jeremy.
What's
See?
her name? Amanda?
Amanda.
Amanda, you're a rock star.
She is.
Because that's, wow.
She is the one.
And that guy,
A dear friend.
he thought he had you back.
Well, and
He probably went there. You got this guy's gone. We want you back.
He came from a place of respect and love. I got 5 kids, Jeremy. I was no longer employed. He saw that. He wanted to make sure I was going to be whole. But it was Amanda to say, like, hold on, what does that do for my husband if he now goes back after just, he took his ball and went home, but now he's going to come back? That's even worse, in my opinion, as time has passed, to say something like we're going to do some saber rattling and then come back. Are you kidding me? Talk about violating, like, your word.
I'm incredibly impressed by that because that's all you see today.
Yes.
I feel like words today don't mean anything. And then the character behind or lack thereof is why. People don't stay true to their word anymore. People throw around words and statements and shade at people constantly with the thought that they're just going to go have a beer with them later on.
Right.
We just talked about this.
We did.
I mean, to hold true to your word, to recognize that you're making a compromise that doesn't suit you and your needs. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to put your head on that pillow.
That's right. And then answer ultimately the day of my judgment.
And that, to me, I know faith is incredibly important. You were tested many times. How much did your faith how much of it did it play a part in this?
Oh, hugely. Like, I can't even describe how much, really, to put it into a measurable amount for the audience to understand. But it was a huge part of the whole equation. It had to be. You used to make rash decisions when you're young, you know, or maybe you wouldn't ask for help on a decision. As you get older, you realize that you should ask other people for help or guidance. And for me in the moment, it couldn't be anyone at the fire department to ask for that help or guidance because they would be clouded. I know what they would say. Chief, it's okay. We'll drop down. Fuck it. We want to keep you. But that's not okay, Jeremy. You understand? So who I had to turn to was Amanda and God. That's how I worked through a lot of my decision making. But, like I was mentioning earlier, before I took the job, Amanda and I sat down, and she's like, look, never make a decision. I'm okay with it. We'll figure it out. If you have to leave because they're trying to do something that they've always done in the past, right? You can't tell the future, but you can use the past as a very good indicator to determine what the future might look like culturally and historically through tribal data and institutional knowledge. If there may come a time when you got to plant your flag, hold what you believe is the high ground in the moment and not be willing to capitulate.
People compromise all the time. They don't remain true to their thoughts or beliefs, or they don't worry so much about character and integrity anymore. And, I see this all the time, and I've struggled with it too at times. You make decisions and you go, man, I wish I zigged instead of zagged, And for you, I mean, this is big. I mean, this is livelihood. This is everything.
It's everything.
I'm fascinated by faith. My wife asked me the other day, she says, do you pray?
Me or you?
No, me.
Yes.
My wife talked to you the other day?
Oh, I thought she was asking. I thought she was asking you if I.
No, but she said to me, Terry said to me, she goes, do you pray? And I said, I took a pause, right? And for me to pause is kind of, not normal. I'm usually have a quick answer. And I was like, I think I do. It's not formal. It's not like, dear God. But I think that a lot of my thoughts are heard. And there's a lot of times that I think spiritually. I know I have faith. I talked to you before about my renewed sense of faith. It's not so much organized like I go to church every Sunday, but I've recognized the importance of something more.
Yes.
I've recognized the importance of having a belief in something bigger and greater than me. Mm-hmm. And I find that today that helps guide me more than it's ever helped me before. Mm-hmm. And I think that just comes with time. I grew up in a formal religion, Roman Catholic. I was an altar boy, CCD, confirmation, all that stuff, right? Went to church every Sunday with the family. Then you kind of grow away from it, right? Mm-hmm. At least I did. And I have found in the last year or two, spiritually and faithfully, I've come back around to accept it back in my life. But it's not formal. My wife asked me that the other day, and it just caught me off guard because I'm like, yes, And I think about the situation you were in. I've had to make very hard decisions in life as well. We all do, right? But when you have to make a decision that affects your wife, 5 children, a fire department of how many?
65.
65, the community of 10,000, right? Whatever it is, all that came down on your shoulders to that one moment. And then there's you. And it's like, what did Sebi say before at the camera shop? Broad shoulders. Jeremy's got broad shoulders. And you're like, yeah, he carries a lot.
Carries a lot.
You carried a lot. And then you have to make a decision based upon that. And people can watch from the outside and they can listen to this episode and form their own opinions. But at the end of the day, you had to do what was right for you and for your God. Right? It's powerful.
Yes.
Have you always been like that?
Yeah.
I know you went into the Army in 2002, was it?
2002, yeah, the 1-year anniversary of September 11th.
Right.
I signed up.
You put your hand on the Bible.
Yes.
Was it September 11th that pushed you there? Did it guide you, influence you?
Yes.
It did.
100%. Because I looked at my grandfathers. One, both World War II veterans. One, a fireman. And, they had Pearl Harbor. They had December 7th, the Day of Infamy.
Sure.
And that, when you talk to those guys, they all lined up to serve. They wanted payback. September 11th was very similar to that for me. Twin Towers got struck. We were under attack. My idols did it when they were in their youth, at the innocence of their youth. It's got to be the right thing. I'm going to do the same.
How old were you?
18 when I swore in. 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever think before September 11th that the services were for you?
I mean, I always ran around in the woods, thinking I was a soldier and being, a boy. And both my grandfathers being in the service obviously influenced. There was always that draw. For sure. And that for sure there was always a draw of you were either going to be a police officer or a firefighter. My father was a cop. My grandfather was a firefighter. My grandfather's stories were a lot better than my dad's stories. You know what I mean? So it was like I was leaning that way to be a firefighter. He was on the job 22 years as a tiller in Somerville, Mass.
No kidding.
Fire department, yeah.
That's what they burned, right? Didn't Somerville? Wasn't there a time, a heyday in that Massachusetts area where all those little cities burned like hell?
All the time. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
But very much so, September 11th was the catalyst to enlisting into the Army. And then, I don't know, probably call it a year after I enlisted, I got deployed. But faith, there was always a Bible in my pocket, in my bag, no matter what. It was just, I don't know if it was a comfort thing.
Did you lean on it?
I would read it.
You would?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we would all get issued a little Bible, smaller than this, little field Bible. And it was just good to have, that word with you, In
the military?
Yes,
you were issued the Bible? Okay.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes, they issue you the Bible, a field Bible. And it was just good. It was a good, comforting feeling to have that, on you. You're a young kid in a faraway land, really not sure what's going on. You're scared to death. You don't know what's coming next, but you got the word on you, and there's comfort in that. Like you, grew up Irish Catholic kid.
Yeah.
The whole thing, right? The whole thing.
Right.
And very much walked away, and I say this often, I walked away from the church, but never my faith.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And, oddly enough, it's been post-resignation, right? When you're hitting hardship is where, at least in my experience, I lean into faith even more. And after the resignation and, this national praise and all this other crap that came my way, I got introduced to other people. Daniel Alice, for one. Faith in the Firehouse. Very, very, he's like a spiritual mentor for me. Because I don't understand it. It's still very confusing. I try to read Genesis, and it makes no sense.
Correct.
Some guys live in 100, 300 years. It just doesn't make sense. And that's okay. What I've learned is that's okay. And through guys like Daniel and others, Cody from, his name is escaping me right now.
Brothers in Battle.
Brothers
right?
in Battle.
Cody Trustro.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very spiritual
very
in their
spiritual,
approach.
Yeah, very spiritual based. And, that's been a blessing for me because they've been able to kind of make a little bit more sense for me to understand it in a way that a fireman would or can.
But it naturally makes sense because I know when I was young and dumb, I couldn't be told anything. I couldn't believe that somebody knew more than I did. I had all the answers. I was the biggest mouth in the room. I had the biggest head. I had a hard time getting through doorways, right? If you think about it, right? That's really how I was. And I didn't recognize mentorship. There's two roads with mentorship: to be mentored and to mentor. You have to be willing to be mentored. And a lot of young people, and I was there, I didn't recognize what mentorship was because I already knew everything. And now today, I sit in rooms with people that run circles around me day after day, and I go, man, if I can only just be a little bit more like them, and they inspire me, they mentor me. And a lot of what I found is the people that I sit with today, the people that inspire me the most, have this sense of faith behind them. And it's kind of the same story, so it kind of makes sense. As you get older, you recognize that you don't have all the answers, and you're looking for guidance and to be mentored. And faith can be a mentor of yours.
Yes, it can. I want to pull the thread on mentorship a little bit. The word mentor comes from ancient Greek mythology. It comes from Homer's Odyssey, right? Mentor, when Odysseus went off to war, and he was gone for years. Before he left, he found his most trusted agent. This agent's name was Mentor. And he said to him, I'm going off to war. I don't know when I'll be back, but I need you to raise my son and show him the way. And this is how the word mentor came to be. So when you think about being a mentor, in the fire service, sitting at the kitchen table, a mentor could be a brand new guy, could be a young guy, but the power to be a mentor for somebody is a huge responsibility. Raise my son and daughter while I'm gone, while I'm literally absent from their life. Show them the right way, raise them up in the word. Show them the right way to check a rig. Yeah, mentorship is huge. And I think too, all the time sitting at the kitchen table where a guy he's got an opportunity, right, in life. There are windows of opportunity, and they open and they close. And a leader has to be smart enough to capture and capitalize on the moment when that window of opportunity opens up. And when a young guy's asking a question, that is a window of opportunity that you're not going to get for really any long time. It could be a 30-second window. You got to reach in there and grab it, and you got the ability to point that kid, to mentor him in the right way on whether it's a work practice, whether it's showing up early, whether it's staying out of the drama on the kitchen table that's growing legs in the morning, and it's just raging hell. This is a powerful word, to be a mentor, and anyone can do it.
I don't think being a mentor is intentional. I think about that, and I think people try to force it, or they try to be, but it comes natural. It comes from your behavior. It comes from your experience and your knowledge. It comes from your mistakes.
More than anything.
Right?
Yes.
But that's because it's organic. Like, I worry that so much of what we do today is forced.
Yeah, 100%.
And when it's organic, it just hits so much more.
Well, and it holds. It holds.
It's good.
It's so funny. And you're doing a great job steering the conversation, hitting all these golden nuggets, if you will. When you get a new guy, right, you pull them in, and they're on probation, and they're kind of scared. They're anticipating. They're very unsure. And you tell them that your journey on probation is so important, right? This is your opportunity to fail and to learn and to hurry up to failure so that you can learn quicker. And understanding that good judgment very much comes from bad judgment. This is your time. But these relationships that you're forming, let them come on their own time, because they will eventually come. At some point, your work ethic and what you're doing without saying a single word is going to resonate. Guys are going to see it because they're always watching, and they're going to tell you after you've been up cleaning the dishes because you're a new guy, hey, would you please sit down? You got it. You did it, but you let it come organically. You didn't force it, and now you start building that relationship, and it grows stronger and stronger and stronger through that. It doesn't have to come from your mouth. It comes only from your actions. Deeds, not words.
I think one of the actions that's most important and often missed is patience.
Yeah.
This is a long play. Life is a long play. There's many chapters. your chapter ended and a new door opened up. A new chapter began for you.
Yes.
You know, it's often, I truly believe that, you know, luck is one thing, but I think a lot of times you make your own luck. You create your own opportunities. And that's by staying true to who you are and recognizing what's important and putting those values first.
That's right.
And I think that's where opportunity comes from.
Yes, it does.
And I know for you, I mean, life has moved on.
Yeah.
You're still dealing with it every once in a while when we have conversations like this, or you see somebody in town, because it's not like you disappeared.
No, I'm still
You're
right
still there, right? You didn't
Yes.
get to run away and move to the
No.
Florida Keys and like, fuck it, new chapter.
No.
You're still there. So you're dealing with this still. But you do have new opportunities in front of you. There are things that are challenging you today. And in fact, when you were telling me about it this morning, you had this incredible look in your eyes of like, I want to say like, you felt free. You felt like there's more. I have opportunity to affect others. That's exciting.
Well, you know, and two, when you're on the fire department, you know, for me in total it was 22 years.
Right. 2
of those years were a call firefighter with Londonderry. It becomes your entire world.
It owns
and
you.
It owns
It's
you.
your identity.
It is your identity. And when you take that away, you wonder, like, is there even a life after the fire department? Like, what the hell am I going to do? Right? Which was a huge concern of mine. But it's funny that you mentioned, like, having these values and, you know, your character. Somehow, some way, the universe will put you, God, like, puts the path. All you got to do is walk it, and he'll connect you with like-minded men. Like-minded men that understand. Like-minded men that share the same values. You know, and this is after the fire service now. And where ultimately that led me, Jeremy, is to the select group, private sector, $250 million organization in the construction industry in New England. And I was hired as their chief people officer, which is a executive level job. I got no education. I got no college degrees, but I got a lifetime of dealing with other human beings in very trying moments, and I know what it's like to pull someone up at their absolute lowest to pull them forward so that, you know, you can carry on. And now here I am. I find myself as the CPO of this huge company.
I love that.
And I'm able to do all the things that have always filled my cup, which is mentor, which is lead, which is counsel, which is help people be a better version of themselves. I'm able to do that still, so my cup is filling once again. Because I'll tell you, for those almost that year time where I didn't have the fire department, I did not have any other mission. Well, and I'll backtrack. There have been 2 times in my life where I have floundered. 2 times. One was when I came home from war.
Yeah.
And this was before PTSD was a thing. I was angry, scared, confused. You name it, I was it. I didn't know what the hell was going on. But I was circling. Never with the drink, never with the drug, just I lost who I was, right? I experienced trauma, got the innocence of my youth stolen from me, and that impacts you, obviously. So I come home and I'm circling the drain, and then it was the fire department to pull me back in, to put me on mission. When I left the fire department was the second time in my life where I'm circling. And look, it's not above me to admit that when I left, I, like, straight up, and still am very much, was going through a grieving process. I lost, on my own accord, the most, like, aside from my family, the most important thing in my life that's given me everything I could ever ask for. I lost it. I walked away from people I love. I did not have a mission that was part of being something greater than myself anymore. And here I go down the drain again, right? Very dark, very deep, pain, suffering, you know, I'm not worth it. And then never changing who I am, with relationships that I had, all of a sudden this company wants me to be a part of them. And it's a huge honor for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A huge honor for this leadership to take a chance on me. To say, hey, you're the guy that we want, that we've been basically holding this chief people officer position. The company's been around for 22 years, and it's never been filled. Well, it is now. And I can tell you that as much as the impact that I at least believe I'm able to have with the people, the men and women of this very blue-collar organization, it's been a gift to me too, because I'm able to fill that void. And I told you, I'll never be able to fill it all the way. But there is a piece of my heart that I'm able to put a little bit more back into through helping other human beings.
I don't think it's talked about enough as men, but the importance of fulfillment and purpose.
Oh, yeah.
I don't, it's never been anything that I would have thought about years ago. And, you know, you asked me this morning a couple questions, and one of them was, did I recognize the time where I changed? I was telling you how metamorphosis.
Yes.
Right, you said?
Yes, the
word
metamorphosis.
you used? And I said it was National Fire Radio for me. And I said that this is holding me accountable. And through accountability, you find yourself, your true self, and then you find purpose. Mm-hmm. You fulfill purpose, and once you follow through on purpose and have purpose, you find fulfillment.
Very well said.
We don't talk about that enough.
No.
And I feel like so many people struggle, whether it's addiction or terrible marriages or awful relationship with your children or whatever it is. I think it's a lot of times it's because you lack your own purpose. Mm-hmm. You haven't found anything that at the end of the day allows you to feel fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, when you asked me about that, I reflected for a few minutes and I recognized that, like I said to you.
Yeah, you did.
The importance of National Fire Radio holds me accountable more than ever before. I've never been held accountable to this level. And I even held up my phone. I think I showed you my phone and I said, this stupid thing right here.
You did.
The upside of this phone is because it holds me accountable. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to sit here with you and talk, I don't want to preach. I hate when people think, preach. I'm not preaching. I'm talking to you from a place of experience. I'm talking to you from a place of understanding. I've been through or down that road. And I even said to you, I would love to help people come along on the same journey that I've been on. Mm-hmm. And just as a human being, how much better I am today. Mm-hmm. The different outlook I have on life, how I talk to people, how I'm more empathetic. All those things is because I've started holding myself much more accountable than I ever did before.
Yes.
Powerful shit.
But very much a disciplined life can be as clear as day. Mm. For you, and I've commented on this, and this is important for you to hear. You look great. You've clearly lost weight. You're smart. You're glowing, Jeremy. You're tan. You look good. And this is because you've put in work in some way to get better. Yeah. That 1% that we talked about this morning.
That's it. I love that.
But through that example, it very much is, National Fire Radio is very much a burden, but it's a burden for good. And it can be exhausting because you have people always like coming at you, messages, and you have this draw to respond to every single one. If somebody's going to come out of their way and ask you for advice because of the platform you have, in your mind, you feel obligated. You have got to get this. You have to.
No doubt.
And it can be a challenge. and even to this day, even though I walked away from people that I loved, there are still people that look at me and they go, "Oh, he did the right thing." And it's all perspective.
Yeah.
But they will reach out for advice. And it can be overwhelming. But you take the time because you're a leader and you want to bring other human beings along with you. So you take the time and you respond to them. And it means the fucking world.
I appreciate it.
When you reach out to someone and you respond, it means the world to that person. It really does.
I appreciate that. It's and that is why I think I'm better than I've ever been before.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of that. And I have purpose. I have found.
You got a mission.
Yeah, and the mission is super important to me, and to represent that mission, right? Like you can't sacrifice or waver on the mission.
Nope.
And if anybody understands that, that's you.
Yes, sir.
So at the end of the day today, with your new position as the CPO, which I absolutely love, and in fact, I've heard so many more, my world outside of NFR in the corporate world, you're finding more and more companies are starting to invest in their people to protect their own culture because they recognize how important that is. So you're finding chief heart officer, chief people officer. Like these are positions that, You ask a World War II guy if that would be
Forget
in
it.
their corporate structure, they would laugh you out of the room.
Get it? Yes.
But today, leaders and managers who recognize the importance of encouraging and building up their people recognize how important a position like that truly is. It's wild.
And it's a huge responsibility.
Yes.
Because very much, and I'll never say that I speak for my leader.
Of course.
I will never say that, but very much I represent him. And
Without a doubt.
For someone to go, you know what, you're going to be my CPO, there's trust there.
A lot of trust.
And we've talked about it through the trips that I've taken, the select group, over 40 people over 2 trips to Gettysburg. The first time was to establish core values for the company, right? They're in the championship rounds. They need core values to gauge their decision making when the leaders aren't looking around, for support.
Sure.
How are they going to gauge the decision making? Let's prevent the normalization of deviance, I call it, with core values in the interim. Over this amount of time, we talk about trust and we talk about the power of relationships. But very much trust, it's earned in drops and it is lost in a bucket or in a moment. And to your point, we talked about this morning, letting things come organically, whether you're on probation or you're in a new leadership role for the new company officers out there. Everybody wants that instant gratification. There is nothing more powerful than delaying gratification for total domination. And that's when you allow trust and you allow relationships to guide your leadership. All this stuff, it will find you. And when it finds you, it's bulletproof. You lock it down. It's locked in. Forget it. And that is the power of trust and relationships.
Shortcuts all day long. I mean, that's how I was when I was young.
Yes.
If I could take a shortcut, I would.
Yep.
Right? Because it's that instant gratification. It's that immediacy and lack of patience. But to try to educate a kid today, I'm trying to do it with my younger children at home, right? 17 or 18 and 19 now. To explain what longevity means and protecting character and integrity and protecting that along the way is a long, drawn-out process. But the reward of it is so much greater. Often hard is slow, fast is easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that is, I talk about that in my program, and so often we find people always want the easy way.
Oh, all the time.
And we've created an environment where, in fact, things are easier today.
But it's
at
also,
least on the outside, it looks easier.
By design, human beings are naturally lazy. We are. And that's why discipline is so important.
Agreed.
Because I would say to my probies and anyone looking for advice, the path of least resistance is crowded and booby-trapped, and it's going to screw you over. Always. It's always going to screw you over. Go the hard route. Because the hard way, it might take a little bit more time, but you're going to do it right. We're all so busy. Nobody has time to go back to something they should have done right the first time. And this is stuff that I work with my children on.
I agree.
It's always front of mind. Do the hard thing because it's going to work out in your favor when you do.
It's so hard to explain that and for a younger kid to embrace that. And what you have to tell them, right, is truly embrace the mistakes. Mm-hmm. Embrace your falls and pick yourself back up. I always say, make a mistake. We're all going to make mistakes. I'm going to make 12 mistakes today, easily.
Oh,
right?
Understatement.
Understatement. Right. It's how you pick yourself back up from them that really defines who you are. Mm-hmm. Everybody, the most successful people in the world make mistakes. Athletes, highest level of athleticism, they make mistakes.
Yes.
It's how they recoup, how they pick themselves back up, and more importantly, what they've learned from it.
Well, and what I've learned always is that there are 2 ways to learn, the hard way or the easy way.
Sure.
When you learn the easy way, you listen to that senior man giving you his screw-ups so that you can do. And guess what? It doesn't cost you anything. Or you can learn the hard way, and the hard way always hurts. It always comes with a little bit of pain. So you say to them, there's 2 ways to learn, the easy way or the hard way. You're going to learn the hard way because it's human nature. You're not going to listen to me on some of these things. You're going to have to learn it the hard way. And that's why we said, where does good judgment come from? Bad judgment.
Yeah.
It's such a gift.
Yeah, it is. And to embrace that, right? And what's wild is I'm going to be 49 next week, I think, next week or 2 weeks. And I didn't really come to understand any of this until the last 7-8 years of my life.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yes.
Like you're 7 years younger than me, I think we said, right?
Yeah,
And like
42.
you're ahead of the curve on me. I was a late bloomer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I want people to recognize that. Like I said it before, I want to try to help people come along like I have and recognize what's important and how I've changed the metamorphosis.
The metamorphosis.
Right? I want to embrace those younger guys and educate them. Like, there's so much more to it if you're willing to give yourself to it. There's so much more if you're willing to lower your guard. There's so much more if you're willing to take the hard road. But I had to find my own way, too. And sometimes that's how people learn.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I want that for so many. And I see the upside and the reward of ownership and hardship.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
God, I just, it inspires me so much. And like, I'm looking at like making myself better. And I appreciate your kind words before, but like just losing weight. I've always been a big kid. Even when I played, you know, the very high level sports, I always carried weight, right? But as you get older, it creeps up on you.
Yeah.
And then to lose it takes work.
Yeah.
And now you got to take ownership. And now you need to take the harder road, because I could have taken the easier road over time and did it over time. But now I'm like, no, I need to get back to it. Mm-hmm. It's always hard to get started again.
It is. But once you get started,
you feel better.
You feel
the
better.
return. I sleep great
Yes.
at night. I'm not, you know, it's simple things, like literally simple things for me. I'm sleeping through the night. I'm not snoring anymore. Sleep apnea disappeared. All these things, you start losing weight, you start getting in shape, you start making yourself better. You start to see the upside of your hard work.
You do.
That's the encouraging part of all this.
Yes.
And relate that to anything else in life.
Yes.
If your marriage sucks, fix it. Put
Yes.
the hard work in.
Yes.
If you're an absent father, fix it. If you're a terrible business owner, fix it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a million things, but you got to do the work.
There's no substitute for it. There isn't. And that's why, like, when I look at what you've done with that metamorphosis, here's how I think, right? I'm about to give a lecture on a stage. I'm going to talk about leadership, and I'm going to talk about mentorship, and I'm going to talk about choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. But I'm going to do this morbidly obese and looking like a slob. Mm-hmm. How does that message? The message is going to resonate.
Correct.
Because the messenger, in many times, is just as important as the message itself.
Right.
And I remember thinking, like, when I went to down to Aurora, Illinois, to speak at firemanship, I was like a little bit heavier than I like to be, and it was killing me, because it's like, how dare you get up on a stage?
No doubt.
I know, but you've taken that pain, that hardship, and you've harnessed it for good to make the change.
I also have thrown it out there too, and
you know what I'm saying, Jeremy?
Without a doubt. And where I'm going with this is, in every single one of my programs, when I speak, one of the first slides is, I'm guilty.
Yes.
It says it right on the screen. It says, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of everything I'm talking about today. I have violated. None of us are perfect.
No.
My battle might be weight. My battle might be this, that, whatever it is. We all have our battles.
That is leadership and the courage of vulnerability.
Yes.
And it starts from humility. It starts from humility. To be humble enough to say that, to put something on the screen. The first thing they say, hey, I'm guilty. Mm-hmm. And by the way, people automatically go, oh, I'm going to listen to this guy. He's not full of himself, because too many people think they have done no wrong and they lead the perfect life.
It is wild. And, in the life of social media and being out there the way I put myself out there and representing National Fire Radio, so much shade has come our way over the years, and especially in the early days, because it was something new and different, and somebody was taking responsibility and ownership of their own thoughts and ideas for the fire service, where this is steeped in tradition, and this is supposed to stay at the kitchen table, and, this is front bumper talk. You shouldn't, and who's this guy anyway? Oh, look where he works, or look where he volunteers, whatever it is. People are so quick to judge, and people are so quick to tell you how wonderful they are, and it's wild.
But
it's wild that they think and value their own opinions above everyone else. And I go, you know what? I recognize that, because I was that.
Yes.
I would have told Bo Butler everything that was wrong with you.
Yes.
10 years ago. I would have told you why you sucked. Meanwhile, I was a piece of shit.
Yep. But you have had a metamorphosis.
I really have.
You have.
And I'm very proud of it.
And you should be.
Yeah, I
Damn
agree.
it, you should be.
Well, celebrate, right? You should celebrate life, and you should celebrate who you are and who you've become and who you want to be. And I guess for me is I didn't value those in my life early on that tried to mentor me or tried to share their own knowledge and experience with me. I didn't value them. And maybe that's why I'm making up for it today with all the things that I do, because I recognize today that I lost out on years and years of information and insights, which would have made me a better person earlier on in life. Maybe that's where I am today now. Maybe that's why I'm double down on it with the Legacy Project, preserving storytelling,
yes.
like all these things that I'm doing. It's not about me at all. People think that National Fire Radio is about me. It has nothing to do with me. I put myself out there because I have thoughts and ideas I want to share. But man, I would much rather share your story than mine.
I appreciate that. And I mean, going back to the flack that you sometimes take.
Sure.
This is, to me, right? This is understanding that in that moment you hold the high ground. Nobody attacks the low ground. It holds no strategic advantage.
You're 100% right.
So when people are throwing the war tools and banging the war drum at you, it's an indicator that you are exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
Because everyone is a critic. Everyone is a critic. And so lean into that and embrace it, which it sounds like you have through this journey that you've taken, and absolutely used it to catapult yourself even in this, what you're doing, this culture, even.
You know, I always say it all the time. I have the thickest skin in the world, right, for the fire service. I have very thick skin. But, in fact, every single comment bothers me.
Of course. And anyone that says otherwise is full of it.
But what you come to do is come to recognize that where it's coming from are from, one, people that you would never share a room with, share a dinner with, right?
Or starve with.
Right? And yet, I would share a meal with them in a heartbeat just to understand where they're coming from. And maybe I can share a little bit of insight and knowledge with them as to maybe they could change their ways too.
Yeah.
People that throw shade like they do are hurting themselves. They're in a bad place inside. I feel sorry for them in a lot of ways. You know, and I could never imagine taking time out of my life to take on somebody for the sake of, you know, fighting for a discussion about fire apparatus on Facebook. Like, it's insane.
Crazy.
To think that your life has gotten to a point where you think that matters. Mm-hmm. In the grand scheme of things, none of that matters.
No.
But you don't even recognize it. You're in a bad place.
Yeah. You haven't detached yet from the moment in the situation.
Right?
You almost feel like, oh, my God, I'm obligated to attack. No, you're not. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
You got to protect your magic.
Well, and that's it, right? That's it. And I think that, I mean, the whole conversation today is about the moral high ground, integrity, character, having to look at yourself in the mirror, being able to put your head on the pillow at night, right? For you, before all of this that got you here, I mean, your story's been full of this, though. From, you know, signing up for the military, going into the Army, Medal of Valor winner for getting two brothers out of a jam on a fire ground when you were a battalion chief, right? If I read that correctly,
yes,
right?
Sir.
There's moments in your life that I have to think confirmed your ways, right? Like, it's those moments in life that check the box for you and go, okay, I'm on the right path. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You've had a bunch of those moments, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. And you can't forget, like, as a father, your children are watching everything you do.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you took it there. Go.
You know, because, look, at the end of the day, you know, God willing, when my children think of me after I'm long gone, you know, they'll think of my faults, of course. They'll think of the good things. But most importantly, they'll remember that their father's word mattered and that his integrity to his last name and his heritage mattered. And the love of his people mattered. And that, you know, it wasn't something I was willing. Dad was not willing to go the easy route to save his own job on the backs of people they love. You know, that's what's important to me. Because we need more of that thinking in this country to restore the light that it has. Because it's dark right now, Jeremy. It's dark, bro.
We're so worried about what others think of us. Right? And I've come to realize, like, I used to want everybody to think I was great a great guy, a great fireman, all these things, right? They were so important to me. And where I am today is all I want is for my wife to love and respect me and my children to know that I have done everything I can for them.
Yes.
And they are the only people that truly matter in the grand scheme of things. And for so long, life was all about trying to impress everyone else and trying to get everybody to think that I was bigger or better or portraying this image of what I thought I was supposed to be like.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
When in fact, there's no purpose and fulfillment there.
No.
And all that matters to me today through all my travel and all the projects we work on and all the stuff that I do, and I'm a super busy guy, but all that truly matters today is the smile from my kids and a kiss from my wife.
Yep. That's all that ever should matter.
But it took a while to get there.
Yeah, it does sometimes.
But that's okay because it's the long road.
Yep. And it's interesting because, like, my oldest daughter, Summer, she's going to be 17. Amanda and I had her. We were, I think, like 20, 21, 22.
Wow. Yeah.
So in very much a way, Summer, like, grew up with us as we were still growing up, Amanda and I.
Sure.
So she has experienced, like, the rawest form of me and Amanda as young parents.
Sure.
She's seen the growth. She's seen the challenges early on. She's seen the financial hurdles that we have found ourselves in and then have always overcome. She's part of that with us. It's a very unique relationship. But one of the things that is very important to Amanda and I is that our children still love spending time with us.
Yes.
And it's very telling, and it's a good indicator for me as a father and a husband to a dad to 5 kids, 4 daughters and a son, is that now that my children are driving and they're mobile, they can break contact and go wherever they want. You know where they always are, dear? They're always at the farm with us. With their friends, they're with us. And in my mind, that is maybe because I know my children feel the love, but perhaps so don't their friends. They feel that love. They feel that protection, at the farm. I don't know many kids that are hanging out with their parents at the level that mine are. And it's awesome. It's like, you know what, babe? It can be trying. We can be frustrated. But it's whatever we have done as failed human beings has worked. And it's worked on the most important project, which is your children.
I recognize every single word that you just spoke. My kids, last night, Paige, my kids are always on the go. They're 18 and 19 now. They're both home still. Lily's graduating high school this year. Paige graduated last year, and she's going through a renaissance period right now, figuring out what she wants to do. She didn't want to go to college. She's an incredibly talented, artistic kid, and she's working for me on some projects and things. She just finished up doing nails in beauty school, and she's getting her license and all these different things. But she's an incredible soul. And last night, we had dinner together as a family, which was great. Because that's only one. We used to do it every single night. Monday through Friday was home, dinner, 6 o'clock.
Awesome.
We've gotten away from that a little bit because everybody's schedules are crazy, including mine. But when we can, we do. And last night we had dinner as a family. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because after dinner, Lily went to the firehouse for drill because she's a volunteer at the firehouse. So 18, she's in fire school right now.
Wow,
so
a lot
cool.
of parallels here.
Oh, bro, I love it. And then the other thing was I stayed home and didn't go to the volunteer firehouse last night because I had a mountain of work to do, and I knew today I was going to be with you, and so on. So I don't get to get other work done when I'm hosting and podcasting with people. So I stayed home last night, had to get a ton of stuff done. And then I'm in the living room with a tray table in front of me with the laptop out, and Terry's reading a book on the couch. We got the TV on. Shawshank Redemption, one of my favorite, probably top 10 movies, right, for me, came on, and Paige was walking through the room, and she was going to go out. And next thing you know, she was on the couch for over a half hour, sitting in the corner of the couch between me and Terry, watching Shawshank with us. And I, put the computer down, and we picked up, the last half hour of the movie.
Awesome.
And Paige is like, "Oh, I'm so grateful it's not the Brooks scene. I always cry when Brooks is on, when he hangs himself, right?" And
Brooksy.
Just spending that time with my 19-year-old who curled up on the couch, who was going out and then went out later because she valued the time of just sitting on the couch and reconnecting with Terry and I. That to me is that was the highlight of my day yesterday, bro.
Do you know something? You do. I'm going to say it for the audience because you know this. There's a man coming, and he's not going to care about the amount of money you have or your status or your titles, but this man's coming. And it's Father Death. It's death. Death is coming. The most important thing will be your family at the end of this when he comes.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that, too, I want to take it one step further. It's how you treat fellow human beings. Your family absolutely is the priority in everything, but you know what? A simple smile, a wink, a hello, an extra a couple more bucks in the tip because you can afford it, goes a very long way with a lot of people. And, I say it in my program, if in New Jersey, we don't pump our own gas here. They have gas attendants. We're, I think, the only state now. There were two, and I think now New Jersey's the only state.
Some guy wanted to pump my gas. I'm like, bro, I'm good.
Yeah,
I was like, I go, where's the other one? He goes, they're all like this.
That's right.
What?
Yeah, welcome to New Jersey, right? But at the end of the day, for me, I never valued those people before. You look down on people that pump gas. Like, that's a menial job. Now, I'm totally different. If they engage me in the morning, because usually I'm filling up first thing in the morning, for the day or whatever, good morning, sir, what can I get? If they greet me with a good morning, they're getting $3-4. After I pay with a credit card, I hand them a couple bucks cash, and I go, get yourself a cup of coffee.
Yes.
$3 or $4 for a guy that pumps gas for a living could change his whole perspective for that day.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You never know.
No.
And so I can afford that. And I'm not... This story is not to say, oh, look at me. But what I have done is start to realize and recognize those around me. If a homeless guy's at the intersection, and I know some places they're at every intersection, so you can't give to everyone. But if they catch you right, or they smile at you, or they treat you, if they talk to you like a human being, talk to them like a human being. Like, there's so much more to that. And we're so focused on ourselves today. We're so focused on walking with our heads down. All I want to do is challenge my kids to walk with their heads up. Look around. Mm-hmm. Look at the people around you.
Be a good human being.
Be a good person.
And that.
Don't be a shitty person.
I was just having this conversation with my kids. I asked them, I go, you know the name of your janitors at the high school? No, Dad. I did. It's very fascinating. Early on in my life, and I can't even say it was like, this is about relationships. All I knew is that it made me feel really good inside when I would go out of my way and form a relationship with one of the janitors or the guy lining the football field or lacrosse field. For no other reason than it made me feel really good to see him feeling really good about the conversation. Unknowingly, that was one of the keys to leadership, is treating people good and fair and kindly and being positive when there's nothing to be positive about, and not letting, your people feel your stress that might be on you from home, but when you walk in the firehouse, they deserve this always. Check your stuff at the door, right? And I guess that would be a good message from this platform, is that, like, for the new officers out there, if you have intentions to promote, when you walk through that door on day one, treat people the way you want to be treated, right? It's the golden rule. And it goes so far. It will pay dividends for them when they put on the baby blue, light shirt as a company officer or as a lieutenant. The power of relationships.
It's simple when
It's
you
so
think about
simple.
it, right? But you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
You got to pick your head up and look around. You got to recognize that Bo isn't himself today. So when I can catch him when I can grab him in the apparatus bay and nobody else is around, hey, dude, you good?
Yes.
I noticed today you're a little quiet. Everything okay?
Yes.
And you know what? You might prevent that guy from making a bad decision.
Yes.
You might help walk that guy through something. And it's not that you need to take ownership of that and you shouldn't feel obligated to do so, but even just a simple check-in with somebody.
The buddy check.
Can go so far.
You know what's crazy?
Can go so far.
Always did that at the fire department. And through the buddy check, you might, because of a relationship, you and I have a relationship, if I send you a text or pull you aside and I say, hey, brother, you good? And you're like, no, I'm not. As a leader, you have to be ready.
That's right.
When they say no.
No doubt.
Are you willing to help them when you say, hey, what can I do for you? And they say, I'm going to miss my mortgage payment this month. You better be ready. And this is what's so hard about leaving this fire department, is that these guys, the majority of them, I have helped pay taxes for these guys that were short, going through divorce. I've covered mortgage payments for these guys, and They're the only ones that know it. No one else knows it. I would never drop names because you don't do that. But it's been very difficult for me to not be able to do that for those guys anymore, you know, because I was in a position financially to do some of that stuff, you know, and to not be able to do that for them. I know they're still going through hardship. They're not talking to me anymore because of probably how everything went down. Where are they getting that help from? And I hope they're getting that help, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that is the struggle for you with all of this.
Yes.
You know, not willing to, you know, not willing to sacrifice your own morals, ethics, and values puts you in a place where you don't have the same relationships you once had.
You very much become a pariah in your own home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. Our meeting today has been fantastic. Like the conversation from the second we shared a cup of coffee this morning at the diner till now, it's powerful. And I really hope when people listen to episodes like this, I mean, we didn't talk about stretching lines. We didn't talk about any of that, right? And we could.
Yeah, we could.
We didn't. This is two guys that are going through life and finding their way. Mm-hmm. And I think if anything from episodes like this, I feel like these episodes hit better than any other episode we do because I think everybody listening, young and old, can relate to something that we talked about today.
I agree.
And the fire service can consume you. It can become your identity, and for most it has, and I think it has for me in a lot of ways. But I've also recognized that there's a lot of other things in front of me that I want to be known for, not just firefighting, right?
Yeah.
I think you've recognized that too, and you're working on that as well. And what I would challenge people that are all in is, yes, we want you to be all in. The public deserves you to be all in. But make sure you get some of that self-care too.
You got to. And you got to have a group of trusted agents that you know that when you're down, you can lean on them to pull you up.
Yeah.
Without judgment, right? Without like embarrassing you, but having a relationship in order to feel comfortable there. Because we all need it, man. We all need it. That's what's tough about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Bo Butler, bro, I can't even begin to thank you for making the trip down. This has been fantastic.
Thanks
I'm
for
glad.
receiving me.
Like I said, I'm glad we waited to do this.
Me too. It was meant to be. A little God wink.
I think so, man.
But, you know, if I may.
Please.
I would like to just, because I haven't been back to the firehouse since I left. I couldn't, I just physically can't, because there's that feeling of abandonment. It's very hard. It's not my place anymore. I left these guys. They don't want me back in there. But I just want them to know that I love them. I miss them dearly. I think about them all the time. Every time I hear an engine, I'm praying to God that the boys are going to be safe and that whatever they have to do, they're going to get through it, and they're going to get through it together because that's the only way we can do it on this job. My daughter, Summer, the oldest, like the parallels you were talking about, your daughter.
Yeah.
Never in a million years, Jeremy, did I ever think Summer, out of all the kids, would want to be a firefighter. But before I left, I was working on an internship program to create for the high school because it's right across the street from headquarters. So my intention was, hey, you don't have to go to college. There's a place for you. Just graduate the high school, come over to the fire department. You're a homegrown kid. This place will give you everything like it's given me. And then I left, and that program fizzled out, obviously. But there was a lieutenant there that brought it back up with support from command. And my daughter was one of the first members, the first member of this program to experience the Londonderry Fire Department internship. And through that process, my daughter now wants to be a firefighter. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Now, I never ever, not one time, pressured my kids into doing anything. You can't do that. They come to it, they'll recognize whatever they want to do on their own accord. But she now wants to be a firefighter, and I think it's a fireman, and I think it's just the greatest thing ever, you know?
My Lily caught me off guard.
Crazy.
I didn't see. She's my last of four, and the other three want nothing to do with it. Not that they don't respect it, or they respect it. They know every guy. They have a beautiful relationship with the fire department. It's been present in their lives, but none of them wanted to do it. And then Lily out of left field's like, Dad, I'm ready. And I go, what do you mean you're ready? Like, I'm ready to join. Join what? I was like, what are you talking about? And I had a little bit different of a take at first. And I'll share this real quick.
Yeah, please.
She told me she was ready to join, and I said, join what? She said, the firehouse. And very quickly and selfishly, I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I had that moment as a father, but also selfishly because that's my place. Those are my guys, my stories, my tears, my laughs. And I wanted my daughter to be at arm's length. I didn't want her to be a part of it because that's my place. And then very quickly in the same breath, you know how you said you could have regret and not have regret? It was the same conversation mentally for me. It was, no, I don't want you there. Yes, absolutely, come. And so very quickly, I would say in a fraction of a second, I said no. And then the words spoken were, yes, absolutely, I'd love to have you there. And that's something that I had to deal with. And that went away very quick. That feeling that I didn't want her there, that feeling that I didn't want her exposed to all that, disappeared very quickly. And in fact, I'm so grateful.
Isn't it the best?
She's there today. I have watched, something just happened over Christmas, which was wild. Terry and I are getting ready for Christmas Eve. We got setting tables for 20-something people at our house. We host Christmas Eve. And Lily comes downstairs, and she's putting plates out. She's bringing chairs in, all this stuff to get the room situated. And I go, thanks for helping. She's like, yeah, no problem. And I go, you've never helped before. And she's like, oh, it's like, I guess it's the firehouse.
Yes.
She just jumped right in and started helping. And it's like that
Yes.
to me, I was like, that was a holy shit moment. And I go to my wife, I go, see, firehouse is good.
Yes, it is. And I had this conversation with Summer. I'm like, in a lot of ways, the fire department
Structure.
like made me I learned how to cook. I learned the importance of like hygiene, obviously from the military, but how much hygiene, the importance of making your bed, like structure.
How about the art of small talk?
Yes. It's the best. Now, I told her too. I said, hey, look if you think your last name is Butler, right? And the way I like to think of things, any one of the members, if they had a child that wanted to apply, no matter what department it is,
Sure.
you get the opportunity because of who you are and your last name that you carry. But you need to now prove and capitalize on that opportunity, because if you think the guys are going to go easy on you, or you think I'm going to be easy on you, you are sadly mistaken, because here's the truth of the matter. You will always be the chief's kid. So you're going to have to work your ass off harder than anyone else because of that. And it might never be enough, but eventually through your hard work, without, your father babying you, like we've seen obviously in the fire service before, you're going to earn it. You're going to own it.
My conversation with Lily was, you have 2 cards stacked against you. I said, 1, you're a woman.
Yes.
And 2, you're my daughter.
Yeah.
Those are 2 very big things that I never had to deal with before. Mm-hmm. Your father has a reputation, his own firehouse, but he also travels nationally for the fire service.
Yeah.
Kids in her Fire 1 class found out who her dad was. She never told me that they knew. So it was just flying under the radar. And then she's like, of course they know who I am. And I'm like, what? I go, how'd that go over? She's like, it's weird. But she's like, it's okay. She goes, you did post a picture of us at a fire recently together. And I go, oh, shit, I forgot all about it. And that's how the kids, that's how they put it together.
That's how they figured it out.
But at the end of the day, like, I'm super proud of her. Yeah. She's finding her own way with it. And she has become an incredible human being, and I'm very proud of her. And our relationship is very different than it was before she was a member and just father and daughter. But now we share this common bond that I don't share with any of my other kids. There's a uniqueness between Lily and I compared to all my other children, only because we share something very different that nobody else shares with me. And that, to me, is something that will never be taken lightly.
That's special, Jim.
It is special. But we created them. Mm-hmm. We built them. Mm-hmm. And I'm very proud of that. And I look at my children and how they are today, and I'm incredibly proud of the human beings they are. And I know, and I can say flat out, it's because of the hard work my wife and I put into them, especially my wife. Mm-hmm. We would not... we didn't roll over. We weren't their friends. We were their parents. Mm-hmm. And there's a big part of that today. But, when strangers come up and tell you how great your kids are.
Yeah.
When you're, one of the most rewarding things for me ever with my children is when they hold a door open for a stranger. That is more valuable to me than straight A's on a report card any
Same
day
with
of
me.
the week.
Same with me. 100%. And it means so much when someone comes up and goes, your children are so polite. You're like, what the are you talking about?
Yeah, are you kidding? They just yelled at me last night. What are you talking about?
But those are all indicators. And, that's so funny. Like, you want to judge a new fireman's character. Watch what he's doing in New Hampshire when it's snowing, come shift change. And if he's cleaning off everybody else's truck of snow before he leaves without being told to do something, you got a rock star. And those are some of the things that you look for in people. You see that in your children holding the door. Man, you're hitting the nail on the head there, brother. Proud of you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of, I don't know, just I'm in a good place, man.
I can tell. You're radiating the good place.
I'm in a good place, and I'm happy. I think everybody deserves to be happy.
That's the goal. The pursuit of happiness.
Yeah. I said to you before, I love the game. I love the process. I don't think I could ever give up the process.
Yeah, you say love the grind.
I love the grind, right? I wouldn't know what to do. If you told me I could sleep until noon today and then do nothing all day, and I don't think I could do that for more than a day.
No.
I need the process. I need the challenge. I need to be tested. I need the stress. I need people to need me.
Yes.
I do.
You need the pressure. And pressure
I
is
do.
very much a privilege.
I do.
Well, it's like, hey, Viktor Frankl said, man does not need a tensionless state. He needs tension to thrive.
Yeah.
Think about that. And that's you in this role.
The challenges and adversity that I deal with daily has made me who I am today, and I wouldn't change that for the world. And I get to, in my world, meet people like you, and I get to create new friendships and meet new people. And I didn't know how today was going to go. I'm not going to lie. I challenged you early on this morning, telling you a couple things we didn't mention today. But, I said, what about this? What about that? Like, I'm not afraid to ask those questions. And if I'm going to surround myself with people, I want to know who they are. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful to get to know you today, bro.
Likewise, brother.
I mean that.
It's been a blessing.
It's been a great conversation. I think what we talked about today through our own trials and tribulations, our own ups and downs, we can help make somebody better today.
I hope so.
I
hope
think
so.
That's it, man. 1%
The
every day.
1%. Yes. Brother.
Appreciate it. Bo Butler, thank you, brother, for being you. And thanks for taking a trip down to New Jersey today for this. And I wish you the best of luck with everything going forward. But luck is a funny thing because I think you make your own luck and stay true to who you are and keep plugging away, man.
And I think I'll see you again in Aurora.
So,
right?
Oh, yeah. I'll see you out there for sure.
Yes, sir.
So, good. If anybody wants to reach out, they want to send you a message, an email.
Absolutely.
How can somebody get a hold of you?
Instagram seems to work the best. But, yeah, Instagram gets me. I answer everything that comes through. We talked about that this morning. And I'm an open book, Learn.
Me too.
I just want people to learn and be better, so it takes humility to recognize that, I suppose.
Awesome. Bo Butler, thank you for being here, pal. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Good. Guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the National Fire Radio Podcast. Like I say at the end of every single episode, take this conversation, take it back to the firehouse, and talk about it, because when we're talking about the job, we're making the job better. Sebi, I'm staring at the camera. He's happy. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you at the next one. Jeremy, National Fire Radio. National Fire Radio.